being the oldest, I think my personality needed more things in my childhood that I didn't get. What we didn't talk about was the fact that our father was an addict. He suffered from drug abuse. And we come from a long history of addiction on both sides. I grew up very scared and very timid, afraid all the time. I had this nervous feeling all the time because when you're dealing with somebody with addiction, you don't never know what's gonna happen. You know, you don't know how to be, what to be, where to sit, where not to sit, whether you hide, whether you stay in the front of everybody. Just always, I grew up very afraid. And fear, we know what fear does. I don't know if y'all know, but fear has its own attributes. Fear is the one word, but it's have all of these like tentacles that attaches itself to fear, right? So if someone would yell, like the voice of my daddy, he would raise his voice and I would begin to cry. Like, just by raising his voice. And I grew up in my adulthood with that. When a man would yell, I would get afraid. Because now you either want to fight, you want to do something hurtful or something. And then it was the verbal thing, the verbal abuse, right? So I remember when we moved from Roselle to Somerset, and how afraid I was because we didn't have Grandma Donald now. So Grandma Donald for me was my safe haven. Even when my daddy would come around sometimes, we was still gonna be at Grandma Donald's house, or we was gonna see Grandma Donald, because that was the safe house for me. And now that was taken away. We went to a foreign place. It felt foreign to me, although we knew the Lundys, but my Grandma Donald was that safe place. And I remember being in the house. I was 13 years old. I'll never forget. I was 13 years old and I was miserable. I was like, why are we living here in this house with this man? He's just not nice. Why? And I remember on New Year's Eve, it was January. And everybody was, I don't know where everybody was at. I don't know. Maybe you guys was there, but there was a bottle of Jack Daniels in the closet, in the cabinet. Now, I ain't never drink before. I'm 13. I'm 13 or 14. And Jack Daniels was in
Roselle?
We in Somerset in the Grove, 357.
Oh.
And I saw the bottle. Now, mind you, I have all of these emotions. I'm afraid all the time. I can't really talk to Mom because she working doubles. She ain't really there. And I'm left with myself. I can't really talk to y'all because y'all younger. And Grandma Donna ain't nowhere.
You couldn't talk to me.
No, I couldn't.
I was 12.
Yeah, but you wasn't a safe place. We were all scared. What was I gonna do with y'all? I felt like I needed to protect y'all in some kind of way. Come on. Soon as we hear the car, come on, y'all. That's a lot to put on. That's a child. So the Jack Daniels was in the top of the closet, and I was like, I'm a drinky. Now, what made me do that and be so bold? Because had he knew that I had taken the Jack Daniels and drank the whole bottle.
Whose Jack Daniels was it?
Probably my daddy's, not Mommy's, but the whole bottle. And nobody knew.
You must have fell out.
I did. But that's not the point. The point is, I drank the whole bottle, and that was the start. And when I drank it, I was like, whew. All of the fear, all of the anxiety, all of the emotion, I was like, whew. I don't feel afraid anymore. I can speak up, I can talk, and
wow, that's significant.
Yeah, and that's where. And it brings me to tears because my journey has been just that. Fear, overcoming fear, And I mean, I got a lot to be, I've accomplished a lot, I've done a lot, but I struggled with that fear for many, many years, many years, and alcohol, many years. I've always felt like I was different. I'm not, they don't understand that, right? Well, once that took on a life of its own, right? I was like, they're not relatable, right? I can't talk to them. And then I would do this comparing thing within myself, comparing myself. Why am I like this? Or,
I've seen.
Yeah. You seen that in me? Yeah. Like I've felt that.
Not even that you vocalized it. I mean, not like you didn't actually say it to me.
Right.
I just sensed it.
But in all of that, right, it was me getting clear about who I am, what I've endured, how I overcame, and being able to speak my truth. And I don't need to be ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of it anymore. I used to feel very ashamed and guilty, like, why me? Why me? Why me? Why not you? There's a whole lot of people in high places that I listen to, that I respect. That I listened to this doctor today. I was on a call earlier this morning. Not a doctor. She worked for Wall Street and she had accomplished so much in her life. But she had this one struggle, alcoholism, right? And she went on and she excelled in all of these different areas in her life. But there's one thing she couldn't get right. And it was so moving and touching. And listen, this would be the same woman that I would probably walk down the street with, and we wouldn't even say hi to each other. We wouldn't be in the same rooms with each other, but this connects us. But I'm being transparent and telling you that's been my journey, and it still continues to be a part of my story, right? I'm not ashamed, and I talk to my children, I tell my children all the time, listen, you come from a long line of addiction. Don't do it.
Really, it should be less stressed. They said the South is less stressed than the North. Oh my goodness, or you just getting old. It's older. Not old.
32 years old.
Right, and I get that, because you have your friends from childhood that that know you, but you still can develop other friendships. Just they're different type of friendships.
But people these days are untrustworthy.
Let me ask you something. What do you think about therapy? Both of you guys can I should stop saying you guys. Both of you can answer. What do you think about, wait, Auntie Keena, we're at breakfast. We're at breakfast, Keena. Yeah. But you did not tell me you was in therapy. You and I don't talk like that. We have something going on. I don't know what it is.
I've been
but I'm glad
for a year.
Well, is it working?
Courtesy of your sister.
Auntie. Very good. You shouldn't say courtesy of my sister, because my sister gets the information from me. And I tell her, okay, if I can't do it, I need y'all to be saying this and that. So courtesy of your mother. I'm just saying. But good. I'm glad. That's good. Is it helping? Like in terms of...
It has its challenges because you have to really be open and honest.
The key in that is acknowledging, being aware, and then taking personal inventory of, okay, this is what's happening. So say you're in this situation, this is what's happening, this is where I'm at, and being able to say those words.
I want to acknowledge this because that means that, all right, now you're saying there's an issue. You're just going to keep saying it, or you're going to change this issue. But some people don't want to. It's hard to, like, oh, this is a real issue and I need to change it. Do I really want to change it?
I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah. Do you think that you will one day, like, huh? They're not like where somebody is going to come into your life and tell you what you should be doing. You should do this, you should be doing that. It's not that. Right. It's more about, okay, acknowledging where you're at, and then tools to help you to recognize where
you're repeating things or when you're feeling a certain way. And then, go ahead. I think that with therapy, though, it's looking at the person, looking back at me. It helps. Like I'm literally looking in the eyes, staring back at me. Okay. Crying, I had to cry it out. I had to admit my thoughts to my, like, actually, like, writing it on paper, because I would write still sometimes, but looking at the person, looking back at me, it helps. Like, I'm literally looking in the eyes, staring back.
My spirituality, that's the focal part of my life. I remember, and I'll never forget, and I could tear up, when I was going through so bad, and I called you, Chanel. I called you. And I didn't even have the words. There was no words. I just said, I called you. It was early in the morning. Y'all was still even in the bed. And I said, and you heard it in my voice. You said, come over. And I felt like I just fell in your door. And you began to start praying for me. And I'm talking about praying for me. And before I knew it, then your husband came out the room, and then Janelle came out the room. And y'all just begin to start praying and praying and praying. And that is the day that I got saved. And then from there, you know, I went to church, and I learned more and more about what Christianity was. I didn't know how to be or what to do, you know, because I was in church in the pews, and I was crying and crying and crying, and they was saying, say this and that, and I was like, it brought me back to like, oh no, wait, what's happening up in here? It was something that I wasn't used to. So I was like, okay, but then as time went on, I grew and got better and better. And I thank God. God has been with each and every one of us through all of our stuff. And it's been some stuff. And that's where I'm at, because he's the one that gives me strength to keep on going and keep on fighting, keep on giving. This is why the candle business is so important to me, because when I wake up each morning and I'm in meditation and I begin my daily prayer, I light my candle. I like the scent of freshness, right? It's a new day. When I open up the blinds and look out the window and the trees and the birds are chirping, and I said, it's a new day. I believe that no day is a bad day, right? You can be having moments in your day, but you can always reset. It's always a way, long as you're still here on earth, for you to do something new.
No. Where would you think the thermometers had been?
But this isn't gonna work, and he's not kind. And he's not, well, he might be kind. I think he's kind.
Okay, can we turn it around to where facing the front? This master thing, canopy should be facing the front.
Grandma Donald, you remember? I told you about my Grandma Donald? How special she was? She was the best grandma in the world to me.
Like, she still is in me, right? In the things that I do. Like, she taught me how to cook, right? It shows up in my cooking. And I chose her birthday as a day to launch my business, because I believe that she is really looking down somewhere and very proud. come from really a good family, you know, and it was only because of her giving us those family values that we're able to execute in a way that we do.
Yep.
Right? Some families don't work well together.
Yeah.
Some families don't support each other, and it's because of her. So I honor her by starting this business and launching this business. She was always like a safe place for me. Like as a child, that was my safe haven, her. I look out the window and I said, who will I touch today? Who will I make smile today? You know? And it's the combination of it all. The burning of the candles, the daily prayer, the meditation, the writing in the journal, the gratitude list. And those are the things that are important to me. So it might not be 2 and 3 and 4 jobs. I got his job, right? That's my journey, and that's how I show up.
You're not going to want to miss next week's episode of Lundy Family Dinner.
And right now, statistically, Black people, generationally, we're not improving as a collective at the same rate as other cultures.
You would not be okay if you know, you were looking down from the heavens and you saw Zuri struggling, and you could have changed that.
It's not, her struggle ain't gonna be my struggle.
I keep telling my kids, like, it is your responsibility to be better than me.
If they sell kinetics, are you okay?
I'm okay as long as I like to sell kinetics and do X.
Right.
Here's the plan.
I think
Here's
that's
how the
good.
money grows. Here's what, like, then that becomes okay.
Thanks so much for joining the Lundy's Family Dinner.